Hit it.
Well, welcome everyone to John and Dylan Online. My name is Dylan Guy. Talk now.
I'm John Hastings, and ladies and gentlemen, if you were listening to our Patreon/chat episode, I'm not really sure where that's actually being released. You would know that we've already attempted to record what Dylan rudely calls Scientology v Anonymous, but I call because I'm actually a smart person who's not a fucking loser. Project Chanology. Dylan, what is Project Chanology?
In the year of our Lord 2008, was it
Woo!
2007?
Great. I
Off
want
to
you
a
to
great
know
start.
I understand how you got confused. It was January 2008.
Whoa.
What were you
So
doing January of 2008? I was living in Montreal. I was working at a place called Anton and James. I had been doing stand-up comedy for 2-ish years. Yeah, 2 years.
I've been doing stand up for 4 years. I was morbidly obese,
Good for you.
living at,
Let me ask you this question, and you can
yeah.
cut this out. This is a story that you've never told me that, but Robert Mayer, mutual friend, has told me many times, which was you were walking down Queen Street in Toronto and your penis went inside your body. Is that a true story or is that a
Yeah.
made up
I was
story?
so fat that
Oh,
my goont like for 1 second enveloped my softy, and then I was like, well, time to eat more.
yeah, I agree. Time to get a frozen PC President's Choice lasagna. Head back to whatever
Mm.
condemned building you were living in, probably in the shed.
Yeah, time to head out. Yeah, time to head back to the Ninja Turtles lair and eat it.
Yeah, time to take a unnecessarily laborious public transport journey to a place that smells like sour milk, and you could smoke inside, but there might be a gas leak.
So I was a prime candidate for being in 4chan, but instead I did 4chan Live, which was stand-up comedy, John.
Yo 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 yo.
So the thing that kicks off Project Chanology is that there's that Tom Cruise Scientology indoctrination video that leaks onto the internet.
So just
Scientology does, yes.
so I did the research this week, so I actually have some backstories to all of this because I just have read a bunch of books on this already, so I have some fun knowledge. So 2007, 2006 is a real bad time for Scientology. This is the Tom Cruise jumping on the sofa era. This is the Tom Cruise going around and being like, "You tell that cunt Brooke Shields to stop telling people to take therapeutic drugs. I'll tell you what solves postpartum depression: being a fucking slave for a guy named David Miscavige." All of this sort of stuff is coming out. There was the South Park controversy with the Scientology episode, which is effectively the first time where the mainstream world is told implicitly what Scientology believes in, not in metaphor through Battlefield Earth, but literally like, Xenu, they think there's aliens on you. This is a fucked up cult. It results in Isaac Hayes being like, I'm leaving, you're spreading propaganda. And they were like, no, Isaac, and I understand you're going to have to leave. You're a Scientologist. He leaves the show. So this is firing up the internet already. 4chan is already going. For those of you who don't know what 4chan is, why are you listening to this? It's an image board that was started by a guy named Christopher Poole, who was looking for anime-based porn and possibly an email address, and he wanted to ape 2chan, which was a Japanese version of 4chan, which is an image board, which it is, which you can anonymously post images or sentences, etc., etc. Christopher Poole creates 4chan and also basically creates an oven which cooks society because you can anonymously post there. And so he creates a couple of different boards, mostly for anime porn. And then also, because it's an anonymous place, he creates a random board or B board. There's two eras of 4chan. There was the B board era, which is this, and then there's the poll era, which which is when something called Gamergate, which we're not going to get into, happens, and they need to sort of wall off at first political incorrect talk, so they create something called poll, and basically that just is like, hey, we got all these influential people. Do you have any evil white supremacists they could speak to? This being the internet. We do. But that does not happen yet. What is happening is the B board's going around, and some of them are really, really good hackers, and they do not like that Scientology is going around attempting to censor and intimidate people. Scientology tried to intimidate Comedy Central for airing that South Park episode, etc., etc. They go in, they may or may not have hacked, or it was leaked by someone who was in Scientology. It's never really fucking said. They leak a video of Tom Cruise talking in a they've edited down clip from a 3-hour promotional video where Tom Cruise is talking about Scientology while the theme from Mission Impossible 2 plays, and it's fucking nuts. We also have the video of Tom Cruise getting this award from David Miscavige, which I think is the award that John Travolta also has, which means you're technically allowed to murder a man and it's not illegal. Yeah, that gets leaked onto the internet. Scientology says that this was censored. This is stolen material. Take it down. A bunch of news outlets, including Gawker, goes, fuck you. It's news. And then they were like, it was still stolen. It eventually gets, they take down the original copy. But this is one of the early times where it's like, well, it's on the internet. So guess what? We all got a copy now, bitch. And this really pisses off the people at 4chan who decide to take on Scientology and expose Scientology for being the awful cult that it is. Now, people thought that this was an altruistic act, which partly was, but it was also a bunch of people on the internet being like, you don't get to censor the internet. Only we get to be the bullies at the internet. Get them, boys. And this is the moment where 4chan realizes it actually can go into the real world and affect change. Dylan, comments.
Yeah, it's not that coordinated. Like, it's like mostly a lot of what they do is literally like send them faxes that are just black pieces of paper so that it uses up all the ink. They order them fucking pizzas. Super dope prank calls.
Correct. So what basically happened is when they go after it, they start organizing Chanology in January of 2018. This starts with a bunch of DDoS attacks. Which is basically you have a program that makes it seem like 1 billion people have clicked on the website at the same time, and you have them send that signal 1 billion times at the same time, and then the website's sort of like, oh, we don't work, that doesn't work anymore. It just breaks the website. Like it's, and they do this all over the place. They eventually release on January 21st, 2008, the Message to Scientology, which is like, I remember when this came out and I was like, oh, fuck, this is super coordinated. These guys have like so much backing. And now looking at it, what I know about like video editing software and public domain footage, I'm like, this was one guy. Like this was one guy did this one thing. It wasn't coordinated. It's like so many things that get interpreted as conspiracies. It's a bunch of people doing one thing that looks like a conjoined effort, but it was 12 or 13 people doing a DDoS attack. And some of it was planned in 4chan chat rooms and stuff like that. But you are correct. It's not like this. It was perceived to be this and it kind of is pretty big and organized, because what happens next is they start protesting. They have an organized protest in front of Scientology centers.
A bunch of them.
Yeah. On February 10th, 2008. And a fuckload of people shows up. Like this is incredibly significant how many people show up, because everyone, and you like the people that were involved in the organizing, and the people that were doing the DDoS attacks, all that sort of stuff, that were like, yeah, let's do this. They talk about this moment of being like, we thought 10 people were going to show up. We thought it would be a typical protest. And we're talking like hundreds of people show up. Some speculation is it's thousands. I don't think it ever gets to thousands, but like it being the internet, of course, it's like
there were hundreds in Toronto.
Yeah, it was definitely hundreds in Toronto. It was hundreds in London, hundreds in New York. Like it was all over the fucking place.
It was definitely hundreds in Toronto, because I remember this of seeing the fucking guys. And this is the other thing about this is 2008. This is before smartphones. So when you were like kind of idle in public, you didn't have like a shield to show that you were doing something.
Yeah,
it literally was like a bunch of people in Guy Fawkes masks with their hands in their pockets, just kind of being like, fuck you, Scientology. And then just like, okay, I guess we go get cigarettes now.
Yeah, like it was also that thing of, I don't think any of those people in the Guy Fawkes masks thought there would be anyone else in the Guy Fawkes masks. Like you can read accounts on the day. I've read the history of 4chan. It came from Something Awful. Excellent book. And like a bunch of people that were literally like, I figured it would be the people that I came with, and that's it. There's these two guys that like, one guy occasionally checked 4chan, and he says to his roommate that day, do you want to go down? And the roommate was like, I guess, but there's going to be no one there. And the amount of people that they saw got that roommate into checking 4chan, and he like became then like a big sort of supporter and advocate. Like it's also that thing of, this is a recruiting moment, because like you say, a bunch of people, this is before smartphones, you had to literally be told like, there's this website called, and so you suddenly see it. If you're walking by that's a bunch of people being like, I like being awkward and wearing a mask in public. What is this organization? Oh, get ready. So yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah, well, that's the real power, is just like when something goes from a serious thing to just something to do. And that's really what happened. Like, you show up in a Guy Fawkes mask. Also, when I was walking by with my friends in 2008, we weren't like, oh, cool. We were like, everyone here is 5'6". Even though you have the Guy Fawkes mask on, like, with the skin disorder you probably have, you're aggravating it quite a bit. Like, it wasn't like anonymous fucking now. Wow, cool. It was like people were like, oh, look, those nerds are protesting those creeps.
Yeah.
So it was like very much, but if you look on what 4chan becomes, it's very much like they do a bunch of the shit that they would the tactics that hackers would later use, but they're using against Scientology, which no one likes. So everyone's like, yeah, who gives a shit?
Correct. You are correct that a bunch of people were like, "Whoa, but it's your nerds" in the moment, but it also becomes legend almost right away that they were able to do all of this. Also, a lot of people probably said that overtly, but I think also then secretly were like, "I'm gonna check that out." You know what I mean? The other thing that happens almost immediately, Dylan. What also happens almost immediately?
Scientologist kill some guy's dog.
I think probably, yeah. But also, there's a massive.
They killed a guy's dog. Yeah.
Did they kill a guy's dog? I didn't see this because
They killed a guy's dog. They started indicting people. Like,
this is what I was about to get to.
They started fucking throwing shit. Here's my favorite one. They started egging the people that were protesting. Like, they would just like open a window and start egging them, which is so funny, where it's like, you think these people are affected by like the amount of cum on these people? You're just adding egg and cum. It's just, you're making,
sir. Yeah, that's the closest they've gotten to a fucking natural food product in a fucking decade, you tool bag. The other thing that happens is the FBI goes fucking butt fuck for this, because this is still a time when adults don't understand the internet, and all that the FBI knows is like, and bear in mind, this is 2008. So the FBI has had email. Are you ready for this, Dylan? For 9 years. That's how long. So the FBI got email in December of 1999, and they see this and go absolutely fucking nuts, and indictments for everyone. A guy named Sabu within Anonymous is almost immediately turned into an FBI informant. There becomes this whole big thing within, sort of out of this springs Anonymous capital A, which is the Guy Fawkes mask hacker group. They were the people that, if you were living in London in the 2010s, really made for a really fun Guy Fawkes night. There was always a big protest and clash with police in the center of London that, like, they didn't even report on the news. They were just like, this again. Yeah, go get off the fucking the statues, you fucks. You know what I mean?
Well, they were the ones that came up with the flag. The London Anonymous were the ones that came up with the flag and the Guy Fawkes mask, obviously. Like,
yes, and it was also
incorporated. There's the ones who incorporated, the
V for Vendetta iconography,
which is so interesting when you watch that movie, where they just lift it from a movie, and you know what, the masks work, and it was a very interesting moment in time where it's like, of course, it's once people see something is okay, that everyone's like, oh, we're gonna fucking do this. It kind of reminds me of, like, and I'm not saying this is like ethically is the same thing, but it kind of reminds me of like how a riot is, where it's like everyone's angry and then someone kicks a store open, and then once you see, oh, this person isn't being punished for looting the store, everyone jumps in. Because it's like a bunch of teenager shitheads. Like, a lot of the hackers who do this aren't like they're just like some dude who he goes, hey, run this program, it'll fuck with Scientology, and they go, okay, I'm fucking in grade 10.
Yeah, literally a 19-year-old literally was just on 4chan and was like, this is fun. It was given what's called a low orbit ion cannon program, which is a DDoS attack, and DDoS attacked Scientology.com. And that guy got 3 years and was forbidden from touching a computer for 15 years, because the FBI does do a massive overreaction, because from this springs the hacker collective Anonymous. They already have an FBI informant in there named Sabu. That's almost the timeline unknown. The other sort of major figures in this iteration of Anonymous would also be Barrett Brown, who was a heroin addicted journalist who gave a lot of interviews from his bathtub while drinking wine. Personally, big fan of that guy. And Love them. They launch also, what the fuck his name is? The guy who later becomes a massive neo-Nazi. Weave. Oh, what the fuck's his actual name? God damn it, John. That guy is involved in this. That Weave, by the way, when he goes to jail for
Dickie
Scientology.
Spencer?
Pardon me?
Dickie Spencer.
It's not Nicky Spencer. That I think someone else. No, the guy Weave. He goes to jail for Scientology related DDoS attacks, comes out with a big old Dylan, guess, big old what? Scientology, or pardon me, swastika tattoo on his chest. Big old swastika tattoo on his chest.
On his
chest. Yeah, on his chest.
You can still wear a shirt. Chest tattoo means like I'm pretty confident I'll never stop working out.
Yeah, that's a great thing to take away from seeing someone's swastika chest tattoo. Oh, that guy wants to work out for the rest of his life.
I guess someone's just gotta have to be on a diet, otherwise they're gonna look fucking weird.
Yeah. Buddy, that's a big commitment, huh?
Yeah. Are you sure about this? That's what I would say. Are you sure about this? Because you got to be fucking. I mean, about the swastika, I'm committed to. No. The swastika, I don't even. I'm just saying your chest. Why don't you get it on your arm?
So the fucking this version of Anonymous goes on a bit of a hacker raid. They hack a couple of white supremacist radio shows. They get this guy Hal Turner kicked off of the air. They hack some military contractors. They completely discover the Cambridge Analytica Facebook scraping program in 2011 in the midst of being crushed by the FBI. But they lack the total understanding of how evil the world can be and what was possible with social media. So they don't realize what they have until some of the founders involved in this. The blonde guy who also helped try to take down QAnon, who really looks like a grifter. He was one of the guys that was basically like, oh shit. I think Cambridge Analytica is totally real. That whistleblower is telling the truth. Cause like I hacked this guy in 2011 and I have all the documentation of how they did it. And that's how we know that Cambridge Analytica and the parent company Palantir totally real is from is born out of the Scientology v Anonymous. Which was for the following 3 years, the Guy Fawkes mass style Anonymous group does a bunch of sort of quote unquote justice style hackings, while at the same time other 4chan hackers are doing much more troll based activities, such as the Habba Hotel situation, where they join Habba Hotels as sort of a version of Sims, and they create a bunch of black man avatars in suits with big afros. Why did they do
that though?
So they could block the pool.
But why did they do that?
Why did they attack Habba Hotel?
They did it because there was allegations of that Habba Hotel was like discriminating against like people with black avatars.
So I didn't know that.
They created like a bunch of, and then Habba Hotel goes on to make it impossible to have a black guy with an afro as an avatar, which is good.
Yeah, so this is the thing.
They just prove their point, which is good. But this is also another thing where like if you guys Google Anonymous and Scientology, you find a lot of articles from around the time, and there's an NBC News article that calls Anonymous a hate group, which means which it's only one though, which is like, oh yeah, there was a Scientologist who worked for NBC.
Yeah, they were trying. They were, Tom Cruise's publicist.
So much fucking money, and yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like you can connect. Like, yeah, sure, I believe in Xenu, but like these kids know how to make a computer work and they can fucking annihilate your life. Like they can connect people with that like feeling of like, I remember being like, oh fuck. So I guess if someone's pissed off at me, they can take all my fucking money. Like I remember thinking that.
Like Anonymous versus Scientology is where we get all of the tactics used within cancel culture. We get all of the tactics used within troll. Like it is the Alexander Graham Bell inventing the telephone moment of modern society. And it's very interesting that people don't mention and talk about it. Like it's literally where that corner of the internet.
It is scary. It is fucking. It is scary that like a guy can just get 10 people to run a program. Like those other 10 people don't even need to know how the program works. And they can fuck whatever you want to say about Scientology.
Dylan. Here's the scarier thing. The guy telling those 10 guys to run the program, he may not even know what they're doing. Do you understand that it takes one person anonymously saying, hey, let's do this, and the perception that they are in chat rooms and there is a huge group behind them? We've never known that. We know certain public people were betrayed by the informant Sabu in Anonymous, and they got certain people. but it's borne out that there were a lot more people behind this, and there were a lot of people not doing it for any sort of ideological, we've got to get Scientology. I truly believe there's a lot of people within it that were just going, let's watch the world burn.
Well,
and you
also,
can go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Say it. You say
like it's the same thing as like, I don't know what's a pointless act of vandalism you did, because like I could have done, I can see myself doing something like this, because I for sure, like I remember being drunk at bars and just like I took a plaque.
I would never
I just ripped a plaque off the wall in like a busy bar and then like didn't hide it. Like I just was walking around with this big fucking plaque. Like someone could have stopped. It's insane that I got out of there.
Oh, being 20 is nuts.
Like you ever take a liquor license? I took a liquor license before. I fucking took a liquor license and I fucking walked out of the door. They didn't have a liquor license after that. I mean, I'm sure they could get it mailed again, but like they didn't have. If someone would have been like, "Where's your liquor license?"
What bar did you take where is this liquor license now?
I'm not saying that.
Say it.
The liquor license I took it and I put it in the garbage.
So unnecessary.
Dude, I peed in mailboxes.
Did you really? I never did any of this.
In the mail.
Yeah, never did.
Wet.
Yeah, never did any.
And I'm like, people when they go, oh, Dylan's Dylan, I always heard you're really nice. Yeah, I fucking pissed on some mailboxes for no reason. No reason.
I mean, there were some reasons. I don't think there were good reasons.
Here's the reason. I'm a fucking piece of shit, I guess. Like,
I
totally get like, me running, like I'm in my fucking, I don't know, me and like 3 people are hanging out and they're like, fucking do it, run the program. Like, yeah, fine. Now
I could absolutely see. This is the thing. It's like I absolutely see.
Now he fucking whatever has no money.
It's a whole chain, by the way, of calamity of basically creating a subculture of people that are just going to lash out to watch the world burn, because also no one then goes to learn about this culture.
Vandalism.
Yeah, they literally are just like, no, they're vandals, and they're like, they're superheroes. We need the FBI, and it's like, no, just tell them to fight. Like, just give them some limited consequences, and you can actually scare them off. Instead, you come down so hard, you've basically confirmed a bunch of intense conspiracy theories provided to these people by the other fucking sewer rats that are lurking around the internet. Do you understand what you're actually doing? And they're like, no, this is the way I do it. And then we get fucking Gamergate, and then you get Trump's election, fucking Pepe the Frog everywhere, and now the internet's so fucking annoying.
I mean, the internet was always annoying. It's just people didn't realize their power, and it's also like it's just a real representation of how kind of things have always been. Do you know what I mean? Like where it's like everyone's doing something, so you are anonymous. Like if everyone's doing something, then you are anonymous. It's just people like it takes a very little amount of effort to make it pretty hard to catch you doing bullshit. Like if you have a VPN, then
you're done. Like, the world's your oyster, baby.
I mean, I think it was, what was it? Someone told me to get NordVPN, which is so funny that I'm giving this, I guess, a plug, but it's like, oh, get NordVPN because Nord won't give your information up to the authorities if they ask for it. I'm like, I don't believe that. I don't believe the $30 I pay to a VPN a year. Like, sorry, Dylan God is our customer, and you know what? I will die for him. They're giving the fucking information up.
Here's the bigger question, you fuck. Why the hell, in the name of sweet baby Jesus, are you just chatting with someone about which VPN you're using so that they don't give your fucking, like right there? I'm just like, this guy's buying. I hope to God he's buying bulk ecstasy on whatever the Silk Road is now. But like anytime someone volunteers, they're like, yeah, I'm really into knowing about what's going on with my internet. Like you're like, like, you know what I mean?
So the reason this happened is because the UFC was like, this is Dana White would from time to time just be like, I'm going to get all the streamers.
Oh,
and he would just try and like, he would just do what the record industry did in the year 2000 and be like, I'm charging this 16-year-old with $17 million in damages. So
I'm going to say,
he would just make, and he's a fucking weird, petty, fucking dictator. So you're like, I mean, I could see Dana White just being
here,
like,
by the way, is the
now that it's a public company, he won't do that. Continue.
Here's why the internet's worse, by the way, is because before people like Dana White weren't on the internet. Dana White now knows the internet. So he's doing like, there was a time where I had to wait for a press release for Dana White to be like, oh, fucking like this kid. I don't care about it. I don't like it. And now I have to fucking just every fucking 30 minutes, this fucking dolt is fucking making a video in the UFC. Why does the UFC headquarters have such a big kitchen? I want that fucking, if I'm fucking Rahm Emanuel, first thing I'm doing, the kitchen's closed, Dana. We're not wasting money on you having one YouTube video a week, you fuck.
Because they're part of that fucking motivation thing. They're part of their brand is like,
shut up. Fuck you.
3 a.m. and whatever else.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, I remember back in my day, right?
God.
And you know what? Other sports are like this still. But like the whole thing was, he's not a player anymore. He's fat now and he coaches.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, it's like, okay, Dana White just still has to be in shape, which I mean, your boy Vince McMahon kind of created this where it's like, he is the first fucking he was an influencer without a phone, dog.
Vinnie Mac or Dana W?
Vinnie Mac.
Yeah, Vinnie Mac was the first influencer without a phone.
Someone
Great point.
pointed this out, but Dana White, which we have a Dana White episode, so this is probably Dana White says shit. He talks shit about absolutely everyone else. Like any reporter that comes out, he's like, they're a fucking cunt and I want to fucking kill them. But Vince McMahon is like, hey, Dana White, you would suck my dick, but you'd be bad at it, so I want to piss in your mouth. And he's like, that's a good point, Vince.
Yeah, no, Dana White realized
him like.
Yeah, Dana White realizes that Vince McMahon is the BlackBerry to his iPhone. Like Dana White will outlast Vince McMahon, but without Vince McMahon, there is no Dana White. You are totally correct. Dana White is he's the Gen X version of Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is the baby boomer. I know how to let people know I'm a winner. Grow a mustache. I need to look diverse. That'll make me gay. You know what I mean? That's Vince McMahon. And then Dana White's the generation. I got to work out because sometimes they might need me to fight, actually. Again, I restate what I said during the Dana White episode. Fuck Dana White, you fucking nerd. You're a nerd. You 5'8" bitch.
Getting back on track, though, I think it is funny that the way this starts is this huge thing, which you can make it out to be like, oh wow, these brave young people attacking a cult. But the other way to look at it is like, hey, these guys wanted to post revenge porn and they couldn't. So like the way they get their like,
hey, well, hang on. A
lot of it is doxing women that rejected them. Continue.
First of all, Dylan, the term revenge porn hadn't been invented yet. That was just talking to women on the internet. Then I got to tell you. You're misrepresenting the
date.
Yeah, it's called context. I post anonymously on the internet. I have a demonoid torrent account, and guess what? We've never spoke, and you just come to the coffee shop I sometimes go to. I'm going to put your fucking email password on a Japanese porn website. You've been vengeanced. You know what I mean? Like that was just woo, wild time.
I like you. I never told you you owe me something. You didn't give me it. Now you can never have a job again. Yeah,
correct. Listen. My worldview is basically a Limp Bizkit music video, but just the sketch at the beginning. Time to get you, bitch. You know what
I mean? I mean, this is the thing is, I understand, like I was a virgin in my 20s. I get,
and your 30s.
I like fucking so close to being a full incel. I could taste it. I'm run this fucking country, John.
Oh, Dylan, you would have been, I think about this, which is like, if I had slightly less integrity, I would go hard right wing and I would be a billionaire.
I don't think so. I think
yes.
Here's what you need. We've talked about this before. You need a launching point. You need to actually kind of believe it. And you need to make a big change. Like, here's who I was when I was a soft lib bitch. Like, I could probably do a better job of it because I'm fatter. You need to get fat and then be like, I was a lib. And I was fucking cucked by women. And then you have to leave your wife. You live in a shipping container. You talk about how great it is to live in a shipping container because you never sleep anymore.
Two things. One, where do you think I'm broadcasting from? Two, you A, forget the divorce. You B, forget. There's a bunch of forgot. I literally forgot that this was a podcast, and I was about to tell two secrets that would really win my point, but also result in me having to be off the internet because some people would be like, I have to kill you now. So never mind. What I'm saying is 2 inflection points have recently happened in my life that I could have, really primed me for taking a seat on the podcast trigonometry, but I just went, no, I understand the context of these situations. I will just live my life.
Yeah, I mean, you can complain about how hard your fucking life is, but I mean, like, our lives are very easy. So
So
anyway, here's
easy.
what I'm
My God,
saying:
what are you talking? I'm wearing.
Anonymous Scientology. The thing I really like about internet history is that there are no real main players. It is just a bunch of people who are, I mean, anonymous, and they don't really take credit for it. And the thing that really intrigues me about any time you look at 4chan or anything like this, there has to be a guy who was like, I wrote those fucking programs and no one knows my fucking name. Because a lot of these guys went to jail, but some of them isn't like their main characters. It's just 20-year-olds who ran a program that was given to them by a guy who's so like they just caught the stragglers. They didn't catch the fucking people who actually, put all this shit together. Even the guy who made the anonymous video, it was one guy named Greg. He's still on the internet. He's like 19,000 followers on Instagram, and he went to.
Wait a minute, I got more followers on Instagram than that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think his followers are going on Instagram. I'll say that.
Yeah. No, his followers are on BitChute, and they're staying there.
Yeah, there's a lot of his followers started. They started by doing that. Remember when people would repost that chainmail that was like, by posting this, Facebook doesn't own my mind. Everyone,
of course,
yeah. That's how they started, and then they smart.
I remember having a legitimate and honest conversation with someone in Toronto about how they were like, "Well, no, that I believe that," and I remember being like, "Holy fuck, you're in 6 months about to be a real TV star in this country, and my God, I just have to hold both of those pieces of information in my head." The other thing I want to talk about quickly about Scientology v. Anonymous is a lot of the tactics. What's very interesting is the FBI comes in, scoops up 8 people, and we're like, "Job done." And does nothing to shore up or stop websites from being susceptible to all of the tactics that are immediately just then deployed by the internet in 1,000 different ways for 1,000 different purposes up until this day. Like we are, fucking 15 years from this, and all of these moves are still you get the website down. Instead of a DDoS attack, it's a bot army just blowing up your Twitter. Although what that's going to be now be very interesting as Twitter dies the slowest death possible.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing of like, I mean, Twitter is just, it'll be very interesting to see. That's what the one thing about Twitter, as soon as Elon bought it, there was like 9 different podcasts. It's like the same Bankman-Fried thing where there was 9 different podcasts about what happened, where I'm like, the story is not even done yet.
I completely agree with you.
Like 9 recap podcasts, which is why I like Scientology versus Anonymous, because it literally, a couple people get caught, kind of, and then just kind of they get bored and stop because there's a new thing to hack that gives them a thrill.
Correct. And also what's really interesting is, yeah, you're like, they got a few people, but it's like, there's no, like, it's this beautiful expanse of this linear part of history that gets so ignored. You know what I mean? Like there's so much springs from this moment, but it's sort of this thing of like, I remember this all happening. And there was this sense of like, all right, it's done. And it was just like, nah, law of unintended consequence. It's just going to keep fascinating. I don't think I'm making sense in this last point, but I find this moment in history so interesting because it's just like, wow, all that, so much, so much we're living through now springs from this moment. But Elon's trying to get me.
But it's not even like,
I got the bid.
Since there was no like, I'm Dave and I run Anonymous, there was no like, there's no way you can track the leadership and how that evolves. You just got to go from thing to thing that happens on this message board. So we can link, like, you can write a shitty narrative and be like, oh, Anonymous was good when they were messing with Scientology and then they became bad with Gamergate or whatever. Not that Anonymous is branded with Gamergate, but it's like, or like how people try and say Occupy Wall Street pissed people off, so then they became Trump people. Like you can do that, but it's really not. It's just like,
that's not true. Exactly. Which is, you're completely, you've unpacked my point and allowed me to be able to speak freely and perfectly. Thank you, Dylan. I hope you get that dick sucked today. Exactly what my point is, and I love you for it. Which is basically everyone just assumed Anonymous being anonymous. Anyone can kind of go, I'm part of this too. I'm part of this too. Part of this too. And so people just sort of figured like, well, we've got Anonymous. We'll never have to deal with hackers again, not realizing that a shitload of people were like, oh, they took down Scientology. I want to take down women. Like it's just like, oh, okay. Like here we fucking go. Yeah. Dylan.
And also it really underselling the vandalism part about it, which I talked about earlier, is like,
yeah,
I took the tests. I took a stress test because it was fun to fuck with Scientologists.
Yeah, like it's also this is the thing is
this was also they were trying to make themselves. They were like they were doing. I can't believe I'm arriving on this point just as the episode is running out. But like this is when Scientology, at least in Toronto, they were at Yonge and Bloor, which is the center of Toronto,
literally the middle of the city. Yeah,
exactly. So people would just go by and be like, "What the fuck?" And they were like trying to hand out pamphlets. So it's like they start fucking with Scientology when Scientology tries to break into the mainstream while still being a restrictive religion and not allowing people to have any sort of discourse about them. Like, say whatever you want about Christianity. Christianity isn't like, oh, hey, you're talking about how all like Catholic priests are all pedophiles. We're going to shut that down. They're not doing that. Scientology does. So like, I took a stress test and they were like, oh, how do you this feel? And I'm like, oh, it makes me want to suck a dick. Like that was like all I did was like, I'm gay, fix it. That's all I did. That's all I did. And I did it offline. And the people that probably were in protest weren't even fucking on the message board. They're just people like me who wanted to be a cunt.
Yeah, this is the other thing that it does not ever get taken into account with the internet is the amount of people that are like, yeah, they're 20 and they're angry and this is their version of being. Hey, do you remember the punk rock in the 70s, you fucking Gen X fucks and you fucking baby boomer fucks going on about it all the time? It's that version, but it's online and 10 times more destructive. You know what I mean? Unlike your shitty generations that put some spikes on the jacket, guess what my generation does? We get online, we go on a message board and we try and take down a major religion. Not because we really care about religion. It's just because we didn't get to finger anyone when we were 16. And guess what? That's now everyone's fault.
I had this friend who was not fun. And this is like the last thing, I guess. He's good. Not fun. And we were like doing the drunk white people in her 20s thing. We're vandalizing nothing. Like I remember I just pushed over a fucking mailbox. I just pushed
this is a real time.
Not a mailbox, no, a newspaper thing. I fucking flung it.
Yeah.
I laughed. My buddy Jay fucking flung one. We laughed. This fucking psychopath took out fucking scissors and just cut the power to someone's house. That's what Anonymous was.
Yes, that's such a great point. I know
exactly. The guys in the Guy Fawkes masks, and then the people on the message board were cutting the power to someone's house where it's like, I mean, if they were bad people, that's good, but like, that's not fun. There's no crash bang. You just are like, yeah, their life's worse now.
I remember I was 14. There was an evening where friends of mine just went on a path of destruction pumpkin-wise right before Halloween. I participated in that. I laughed and came up with ideas, but didn't physically grab anything because I'm smart. And I remember much like yours, which is there was always that one kid that's like, let's take this up a notch. And he took 8 bags of leaves and just set them on fire in the middle of a road. And I was just like, all right, well, now we have to split up and run because we've just committed a felony, you fucking asshole. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know you're exactly right. But what people interpreted that as is they were like, goodbye. Oh my God, bye, Dylan. It's an amazing political protest. No, it's not. Just a vandal being a vandal. See you next week, everyone. Join our Patreon and go fuck yourselves.
I think it was kind of both, but that is
it was
everything.
Kind of both.
You know what I mean? The complexities of the world talked about on this shitcast by 2 perverts. Thank you guys so much for listening. Next week is some episode.